You turn off the light, and tomorrow's unfinished email suddenly turns itself on. Not an emergency, not even important tonight, yet the thought keeps knocking. While chopping onions, you remember the form still waiting for one signature. The pan sizzles. Your mind quietly reopens a task from another room. On the commute, a half-made decision rides beside you without paying fare. A notification is unnecessary. The unfinished thing can supply its own reminder. Sometimes it returns as words, sometimes as tension without a clear sentence. The experience feels like memory, attention, and motivation sharing one crowded doorway. That crowding is real, but the popular explanation is usually too simple. Your brain is not literally holding every incomplete task in permanent storage. Nor does every interruption magically make the interrupted material easier to remember. To understand the feeling, we need to separate a legend from the evidence. The story begins with psychologist Bluma Zygarnik in the 1920s. A famous anecdote says waiters remembered open orders better than completed ones. Her experiments interrupted participants, then compared memory for finished and unfinished activities. That pattern became known as the Zygarnik effect, then escaped the laboratory. Online, it often becomes a universal law. Unfinished means unforgettable. But decades of studies used different tasks, interruptions, delays, and scoring methods. When methods vary, a memorable origin story cannot settle the overall result. A 2025 meta-analysis combined the broader literature and tested the famous claim. It found no general recall advantage for interrupted or unfinished tasks overall. However, interrupted tasks did show a reliable tendency to be resumed. So the sturdier effect may concern returning, not superior memory, for everything unfinished. That distinction moves us from a memory trick toward the machinery of goals. An unfinished task is often more than information. It is an act of intention. It includes a desired outcome and some expectation that you will act. Researchers Masacampo and Baumeister studied what happens when important goals remain unfulfilled. Across their experiments, unfulfilled goals increased goal-related thoughts and mental accessibility. Those activated concerns could intrude while people tried to perform another task. Performance suffered in some study conditions, consistent with attention being pulled elsewhere. This does not mean every unfinished chore constantly consumes a fixed resource. Salience changes with importance, timing, context, and whether action currently seems possible. A vague goal also leaves unanswered questions about when, where, and how. Until those questions are resolved, many situations can look relevant to the intention. Your mind may revisit the goal because its route to action remains underspecified. The return can be useful. It preserves priorities and prompts another chance to act. But usefulness depends on timing. A bedtime reminder may offer no workable next move. Then the reminder repeats its message without helping you execute it. Why does the thought appear during cooking, commuting, or brushing your teeth? One reason is cueing. Environments can overlap with features of the pending task. A name, place, browser tab, or time of day can reactivate intention. This resembles prospective memory, remembering to do something at the appropriate future moment. Prospective memory demands can interfere with ongoing work, even before the intended action occurs. Monitoring for the right cue may carry costs in speed or attention. Those costs vary by task, strategy, cue quality, and experimental conditions. Task switching adds another layer because attention must reorient between competing goal sets. A visible draft or open tab can keep inviting that reorientation. Removing a cue may help temporarily, but it does not define future action. A 2026 meta-analysis linked unfinished work with poorer recovery, mainly through observational associations. That link does not prove unfinished work directly causes every restless evening. The practical question is not how to erase goals, but how to park them. Massacampo and Baumeister found that making specific plans reduced measured cognitive effects. Participants did not need to finish immediately. Planning itself changed the mental situation. A plan supplies the missing bridge between the intention and a future opportunity. Specific means more than writing. Deal with presentation on a long list. It names the next visible action, its context, and a realistic starting point. For example, Tuesday at 9, open the deck and rewrite slide 3. The plan should be credible, because fantasy scheduling creates another unresolved promise. External reminders can hold details, while the plan determines what the reminder means. This is an off-ramp, not a guarantee that thoughts will never return. Try a 3-step closure ritual before leaving work or going to bed. Step 1. Capture every recurring task in one trusted place without solving it. Capture removes the burden of preserving exact wording through repeated mental rehearsal. Step 2. Choose the smallest observable action that would move each priority. Replace finish report with open data table and verify the first column. Step 3. Assign that action a plausible time, place, or triggering event. If no slot is credible, decide explicitly to defer, delegate, or drop it. An explicit no can create more closure than an endlessly postponed maybe. Review the list later, so your trusted place remains genuinely trustworthy. The goal is not a perfectly silent mind or total control over attention. An unfinished task returning is not proof of failure. It may be an intention seeking coordinates. Give it a next step and destination, then let the present scene continue.